Hey, this is Sam from Vim. Today we're going to be going through the entire process of importing Revizto data into Power BI and connecting it to have a dashboard that can be shared with others. So the first thing you'll want to do is find this article called Connecting Revizto to Power BI in the Revizto help document. And there's a couple of things you'll need to read through and change your settings just for allowing this plugin to work. Now, the most important thing is finding this location. So Documents, Power BI, Custom Connectors. And then if you have one or more Revizto projects you're part of, you'll already know that there are servers in multiple locations. So download these files at the bottom of the page that are associated with the countries of the servers you're using. And then you'll want to unzip them and place them in the folder we just talked about. So you'll want to make sure that you also download Power BI Desktop. This is where you're going to be editing the report, making it your own before you publish it online. Now, just to let you know, we're going to be using the Vim template. So Vim is a way of bringing your BIM model, the 3D, and all of the information into Power BI. And in this case, we're going to connect it to Revizto. You don't have to use that, but I just want to give you an idea. Right now, we're using Vim Enterprise instead of Vim Cloud, and we have processed the Snowden Tower. It took about 8 minutes to do so, and this is what the Vim template looks like. So as you can see, we have all of the BIM models and all of the data, and we're going to do the connection from this template. So I'm going to duplicate the Explorer, which is kind of usually our starting point, and I'm just going to delete all of this. Now let's get to our Revizto data. In Power BI, in Home tab, I'm going to click the Get Data. And in here, you can see we can point to Excel, we can point to databases, we can point to a million things. Now, we've already downloaded and placed the plugins for Revizto. So in this case, my project is based in the US. So I'm going to select the Virginia plugin and click Connect. So this is going to connect me with whatever project I already have access to. And so if you're part of multiple projects, you may see different projects in this list. Now, there are 4 tables in this project. There are the issues based on the project. So this is really what we're going to be focusing on. So I'm going to load that in. Issue differences is going to tell you what has been modified over time. That's a little bit too granular for us right now. We can look at the project information, see it's a single table with some other things in here. It's not really something that we care about right now. And same thing with the team is going to tell us who is in that team. We don't care about that. We just want the list of issues. That's going to be the foundation for all of our work. So before we load the data, let's go transform it a bit because there's going to be a lot of stuff in here, some of which we won't care about, and some of which we'll want to transform. Okay, so there's a lot of tables. I'm going to collapse some of these folders so we don't have to look at them. And this is our new table called Issues. Now, I'm actually going to rename this. I'm only loading one Revizto table in here, so I'm just going to call it Revizto Issues. That way, if I have a template, I should be able to just kind of copy paste the template, and instead of looking for Revizto issue and the name of the project, it's just going to look for a table that's called Revizto Issues, and that means it's going to connect to that data. All right, now the first thing we'll want to do is look at this table and really analyze if we truly need everything, right? Because if we have 150 columns and we only care about 20, it's just going to create a lot of noise, and there's already enough data. We want to pare it down to what we care about. So go in the View tab here and click all of these. It's going to open your analysis tools for understanding what is or what isn't in this data. Okay, so we've turned on our analysis. Now, we're going to want to really go through this in a rough way. Meaning we're going to look at the names of the columns. We're going to look in here to see what kind of values in there and to see basically if we can throw it away, right? Right now, we want to get some focus, get rid of all that noise. So source sheet, I don't care about that. I'm just going to select it and click delete. Now, if you want to delete multiple things, you can do a shift selection, or you can also do control. So if you hold control or shift, you're going to be able to select multiple things. So basically, I already know anything sheet I don't care about. So delete. Now notice here how it's starting to kind of record those steps of cleaning up the data, right? So if I make a mistake, I can undo my delete and I can go back in here simply by clicking this remove column button. So, we took a step back in time. Let's redo this. So delete, source sheet, I don't care. Let's keep deleting. Issue ID, that's going to be very important. We're going to want to count the issues. Notice how every one of the 264 values are unique. So this is very important. We can count the unique numbers of issues to arrive at a number of issues. Now, binding here, it says 2 or 3. I have no idea what this means. That's probably a good indicator that I don't need it. The number of comments, that could be interesting. Default sheet, GUI ID, GUID, I don't care. I don't care. What is this type? It's either 1 or 3. I don't know what that is. I don't care. Now we're going to start seeing some patterns, right? Notice how there's a lot of timestamps, and that seems to be when, for example, somebody was assigned, when there was a CD link added. So frankly, this is a bit too much information. I'm going to start deleting pretty much all of the timestamps, just so once again, we get some of that focus. Here, for example, we see that the Procore information is always empty, so there's no Procore integration in this case. I'm just going to delete that once again. Now, when we look at something like the tags here, we can quickly see that this is useful information. We don't care about the timestamps. The title is going to be very important because that basically describes what the issue is. I'm going to see here privacy. It just always says 1. So I don't need that. If there's no variation in the data and it's not clear what the data is, I don't need that. Keep in mind, we can always come in here and reinstate some of the data later on, right? So I could just go in this list and remove this, and it's going to undelete, well, it's going to reinstate the privacy. All right, let's keep deleting in here. We see here one distinct data. That means I don't need it, basically. Now, notice here, it's not giving me any statistics about this. It's saying I cannot compute the data. It's because we're using this kind of very variable, it hasn't really kind of detected what this data could be. So we know that it's text, so we may as well just tell it right here to determine that, this is text. So let's just click on here. And now all of a sudden, when we click on it, we're going to be able to see that it says either Revizto or nothing. So we're going to do the same thing here with assignee department, reporter full name. We're just going to click text for all of these because we know it's text. If we look down in the data, we're going to be able to see that the department is going to be a text rather than a number, for example, or a date. All right, I'm just going to go through one last time, and wherever I know that it's text, I'm going to make sure that the values are changed to text. See here we have a deadline, so that should be changed to a date. And we have date created, so I'm going to change that to date and time because it contains both of the data of date and time. Okay, so we've deleted a bunch of columns, which we can see in here, and then we changed a lot of types. So now that I've made these changes, I'm ready to click close and apply. And it's going to do a little calculation, doing all of that deletion, all of that unit changing, everything I've done in here. So when we open our data tab, we will have the new table with all of our data here.